Good morning, good morning, good morning. How y'all be this morning? Hope everybody doing good out there. Sad day in the neighborhood. Sad day in the neighborhood, y'all, but we'll get to it. Big rhymes today after the Texans, brought to you by the Brunch Bus. Say you want to eat out, but you don't know who to trust? You should find Houston's first moment brunch bus. From catering to private dinners, from breakfast to lunch, the Brunch Bus delivers. So if it's good food you trust, well, it's still the Brunch Bus. Shout out to Mr. Mason Ferguson and my main man, Adrian Ballas. How y'all doing this morning out there? Look here, man. Look here. Absolute terrible loss. If you look at the caption and the headline of my show today, it's saying, making plans for next season. Because like I say, good morning, let me sing this to y'all. No playoffs, no playoffs, no playoffs. It would take a miracle for these folks to come back and make the playoffs, man. An absolute miracle. Right now, as the way it stands, they're on the outside looking in the hunt. And the three teams in the hunt are Kansas City Chiefs, Baltimore Ravens, Houston Texans. Which team you think is likely to be left over there? Because there's a possibility two of them may be left over there. Possibility all three of them could be left over there. But I got a feeling Kansas City's going to play better. Baltimore's going to play better. We still got to play Kansas City. No excuses yesterday, man. You know, I really, personally, my personal opinion, I think if CJ doesn't get hurt, we win that game. That's beside the point. He did get hurt, and you got to find a way to win that game. The defense played was some considered the number one defense, and pretty much outplayed them. We talking about a Denver team in 12 straight games. They ain't gave up an opening drive touchdown. You know what I mean? They number one in the red zone. They showed that against us. Although I believe the second and goal should have been reviewed when British Brooks was mid in the hole. I thought for sure they never gave you a sideline look at that, and you know I don't understand that you at home. Where's the home cooking at on the videos? Show the coaches some other angles where he may have a chance to challenge that. But the rest of it, your line of scrimmage getting pushed back in the backfield. Shout out to Lincoln Tomlinson, only one who stepped up and acted like he wanted to fight when CJ got knocked out. Only one stepped up for his quarterback. That's what big linemen do. You go over there and you shove them in the face, and that should have lit a fire up under y'all. Davis Mills, my brother want to tell me about look at his numbers. Man, I don't care about his numbers. I care about results. And yeah, he got us down the field, but we never could muster up number of field goals. And I think if CJ stay on the field, we're going to eventually score some touchdowns. I hope he's not out past this week, because he's out next week. We might lose to the Jags. I told y'all a couple of weeks ago, this thing was over, and the only glimmer of hope they had was to win all three home games. Somehow you knew they wouldn't do it. Now, a good Texans team from last year or the year before last, they would have done it. Somehow you knew they wouldn't do it. And that would have gave them a leg up on those teams in the hunt, because those teams lost. Well, Baltimore won, they need to win, but Kansas City lost last night. That would have helped you up and get you out that hunt spot. You might have been in the 8th spot or something like that. You know, you got to get back in there, and you already have 5 losses. This is why I'm saying prepare for next season. It's going to be tough in the AFC trying to get in. I think in our division, there may be 2 teams, but I think it's only going to be 1. Because I think 2 teams may come out of where KC play at. With the Chargers over there, KC. Not sure, but that's just what it looks like right now. It's a possibility we're going to have 1 team come out of our division, I believe. Unless Jacksonville catches fire some kind of way. And I think we should beat them next week. Not saying it's going to help us none, but we should. We'll put ourselves in position again while we 1 game under 500. That's not how we can't get back to 500. And we got some tough games on the schedule. We got a couple of puffs. But we're the type of team that'll lose to the Raiders. We're the type of team that'll lose to the Cardinals. You know, that's what we've been playing like. There's nothing been on this field, like I told y'all a couple of weeks, to have confidence in the product that we're putting out there. It's just not. No. It's not. Denver gave up the fewest sacks in the league, 8. They also have the most sacks in the league, 36. Well, I'm going to tell you why they give up the fewest sacks. Bo Nix, and I listened to an announcer yesterday say Bo Nix's daddy, by him playing for his daddy as a younger kid, taught him one of the most important things is not to take a sack, because nothing kills a drive like that. So if you watched that game yesterday, yeah, we might have been sitting there saying it should have been 2 or 3 plays where it was grounded. May have been, but he wasn't taking those sacks unnecessarily. He getting rid of that ball. He was throwing that ball away where our quarterback was holding it. And I'm not against CJ taking that run. CJ went to slide. It was a late slide. Oh boy, hit him in the chest. It's just that his head hit the concrete. But I believe if that was Algier from the Texans making that exact same play on another quarterback, that penalty would have not been picked up because of his reputation. So I didn't agree with them really picking up. I still feel like CJ got hit on the slide. I thought the slide was to protect the quarterback. Okay, if he's sliding late, then you need to make an adjustment. That's what I feel about that. Even when it was Trevor Lawrence last year and Algier hit him, you need to make an adjustment if he's sliding late. Because the slide is supposed to be there to protect him. Now, if he dive head forward, then you know it's fair game. You know, that's where I feel. That's where I see that. You know, but I'm telling y'all right now, for what I see, and if CJ happens to miss another game, man, come on, man, because the offense still. I love the thing they doing with the extra linemen bringing them out there, but after a while they couldn't do that yesterday because they lost their whole right side. Ingram got hurt and Titus was out for a minute. So you had Fisher playing tackle and you had Scruggs playing guard. So you couldn't run the extra lineman out there, which I like they do that to create a little more running room. But there's not enough offense finishes for me, man. Too many threes still. You know, you left too many points on the floor yesterday. And you know the thing about it, we was watching the game and one of the guys watching, we kept hollering about the 6. Well, we know 6 ain't nothing. We know that a 7 can beat that. But we also know you missed the field goal early. So when it was 6-0, it could have been 9-0. And here you go get another field goal, and then you get a muff punt and get a field goal, which I thought you should have scored. But Davis Mills took a sack they shouldn't take. You know what I mean? Sacks is the ultimate drive killer. And it happened to them yesterday again. You know what I mean? And now the defense that we put out there was cold. And both Knicks had 5 incompletions in a row. I think it's the first time in his career he ever had that. Special teams showed up again for us. We had Danico Autry with another block. I didn't know this guy had 14 blocks in his career. He's blocked 6 field goals, 7 extra points, and let's throw in a punt for good measures. So the special team showed up again. The defense fought for you. That offense is atrocious. And when I say I thought we would win if CJ didn't get hurt, but he did get hurt, and I don't know what the Texans holding on to Davis Mills for still. People calling about Davis Mills, man, go get you a lineman or wide receiver Davis Mills and send him more up out of here. The guy you drafted and you're sitting over there in street clothes to play quarterback should be your backup, and you get rid of Davis Mills. Davis Mills ain't showed me nothing yesterday. I don't care nothing about no 5 out of 6 and all that. No points. They didn't produce no points. All they doing is settling for field goals. The three's going to bite you. We know that from history. We know this from experience. The Bill O'Brien days, Kubiak days. Anytime you've been around football, if you study driving getting field goals, 2 field goals is beat by 1 touchdown and extra point every time. You see? So even when we went up yesterday, think about this here yesterday, we went up 12. And then another field goal, 15. All they did was score and go for 2 in the game tied. You see what I'm saying? You got to stop settling for so many threes. And then you can't drive and get one. And they drive and go get one. So it was pathetic all the way around to me. You know, I didn't see it. And you would think you would see much better production coming off last week when CJ had his first career game with 75% completions and over 300 yards passing. You think he would build off of that. Billy Bell thought he would build off of that and come and bring some fire to the game, but I seen very little, but the pressure was there, and I'm not going to hold everything on CJ because, again, I say if he plays, I really believe that we win. You know, Mills put us in field goal range, but you never felt like we would overcome with him in the game. He never showed me nothing to make me say, woo. Matter of fact, I was sitting there hoping that they came out of halftime that CJ would come running up out of there, and the lady gave me the worst news I know, you know, that he wouldn't be back for the rest of the game. That was heartbreaking for me. You know, Ryan knows the point's going to be tough, so he taking field goals, but he thinking eventually we're going to break through. You know, you got to take field goals in a defensive battle like that. That was a battle yesterday. That was a defensive battle. And we did all we could. And there's some things we left on the floor. You know, that's for sure. That's just what happens sometimes. You know. But I just think that we didn't look worth nothing. You know. Early on, I thought we did. We looked real good. I didn't like getting down there to the 1.5 yard line, not scoring, but that was with CJ in the game. You know what I mean? So what they did was they tried to show you everything. I don't know what CJ was yesterday, but I know against Baltimore he was 85%. Against Seattle he was 47%. That pressure. Last week he was 77%. I don't know what he was yesterday for his completions. You know what I mean? But I could see more. And Houston did a great job early on. Now, they did what they're supposed to do like they did against San Francisco. They controlled the clock. Completely controlled the clock. In the first quarter alone, they kept the ball 11 minutes and 59 seconds. That only get the other team 3 minutes. Because it's 15 minutes a quarter. They only get the other team 3 minutes. And you could see it. The only thing was the other team was gashing us on the run in the first quarter. They had 26 rushing yards out of 20. They had no passing yards. We had 70. We had total yards 90, and we kept the ball 11 minutes and 59 seconds. You know what I mean? So the opportunity to be good was there, and we didn't take advantage of it like I thought we should. You know, I just don't know what else we can do right now because the poor execution continues on offense, and without CJ, you don't see any improvement. See, again, I say with CJ yesterday on the field, I feel like we was going to win the game. Like, it was a tough game, but I feel like when you block for CJ, the same things I said about him in his rookie year, with the game on the line, I take him with the ball. If you give him some blocking, he going to make something happen. That's just what he do. He going to make something happen, you know. I think they say something about Bo Nix was like the first quarterback with 6 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns in a 5-quarter span. First time that happened since way back in 1962. So he was doing his thing, you know what I mean? But that's just in 5 quarters total, not just us, you know what I mean? But we gave him hell yesterday. We just couldn't finish. And my personal preference, I believe at some point in time, you're going to have to send some extra pressure. When you did, it panned out for you. Because yeah, your 4 is getting hit. And you know, some people pay too much attention to sacks. But at some point, you want to get some. Putting the pressure on and making the quarterback get off his spot and throw early is great. And if you can constantly do that, that's good. But if you're just getting there late and not getting the sack and he's got a chance to do what he's normally doing, not working. And I know everybody wants to be the Giants of 2007 or 2009 that rushed 4. The Giants had a unique line. All 4 of those cats were just outstanding at rushing the passer. They didn't need to do nothing else. Well, I know D'Amico comes from a system in San Francisco where they live the same way. If you pay attention, that's where the Texans live. They like to bring 4. That's why we got 2 great defensive ends. And I think Will Anderson is going to be a problem. But no, I don't know, y'all. I don't know what we're going to do in the coming weeks, but I just feel like this season may be lost. This may be a season that you might just have to toss this one up. D'Amico may miss the playoffs. Maybe they'll light a fire under him. I want to make this clear. I don't think that getting rid of Slovic was the right move, but I think D'Amico got put under so much pressure from people around the media and the outside voices, and maybe he shouldn't have let that bother him, and maybe Caserio too. Because that line coach and the offensive coordinator we got now, they used to be in New England. So you know that's a Caserio hiring. That's not D'Amico. So let's point the fingers where the fingers should be pointed. Because I'm almost positive, excuse me, y'all, I'm almost positive D'Amico didn't make those hires. No. I don't believe that. So 3-5 is where we are. You win next week, you're 4-5, you're still under 500, you're still out the playoffs, and the games are getting lighter. The games are getting lighter. Because I say if we win next week, you back to 4-5. That's 9 games, right? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Because 18 weeks in the season, you play 17 games now. After next week, you'll have 8 games left. What do you do in those 8 games? I personally got the Texans missing the playoffs unless they do something dramatic, something spectacular comes along and happen, and I don't see it, don't know what it's going to be right now. But if that doesn't have, if it's something short of a miracle, they're not going. They're not going, y'all. I'm sorry to say it. It's just, you know, this run here, as you know, it may be over. It's time for some people to get paid, you know what I mean? And that's okay. But Nick Caserio should be the one, I think, taking the heat before D'Amico Ryan, because Nick made all these fantastic moves. They wanted to draft receivers. They did nothing on the line other than Irsay, which is going to I think he's going to pan out just fine. But he is a rookie right now. Well, you should have some other rookies, because you didn't hit on Fisher and Struz. They only around because ain't nothing coming around better. You understand what I'm saying? That's the real truth about it. So I think Caserio's head should roll first before we go to knocking D'Amico. You know what I'm saying? And I know D'Amico's Domino down there because we got, man, it's been a couple of games where you at the goal line at the 1.5 yard line and y'all can't push forward and get a yard. And that's beginning to be pathetic. But I do believe second and goal should have been challenged. There was a guy that met British Brooks in the hole, but if you know British Brooks, he's built like a little outside, you know what house. And I would love to see the replay from the sideline and see if that ball break the plane, but they never showed an angle like that. And that's why I say, where's the home cooking at? You know? But hey, y'all, man, y'all go and do what y'all do for the day. All y'all that tune in a little later, you know we get on, love all y'all to death. I want y'all to understand something. That there's no way that you should be down on you and don't feel like, you know, you ain't got nothing to fight for. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. You gotta take a breather, take a breath. Let's sit back and see. Like I say, something magical might happen, y'all. I don't see it, but it could happen, y'all. But man, look here, thank y'all for tuning in with me on this sad Monday. You know, I feel like I attended a funeral this morning almost, but not quite. But you've been tuned in to Big Ryan today after the Texans, brought to you by the Brunch Bus. You won't eat out, but you don't know who to trust. You should find Houston's first mobile brunch bus. From catering to private dinners, from breakfast to lunch, the brunch bus delivers. So if it's good food you trust, but it's still the Brunch Bus. Y'all gonna have a good time, man. Go Texans. Let's keep the spirit up. Let's keep the fight up. Ain't no telling what might happen. And we gonna hang in there and see. Everybody be good, man.